Welcome back to GBRANZ. I'm Andy Rowan. Joining me in studios, World Cup winning Wallaby Jeremy Paul. Still sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, never gets old.
And in London, joining us from all the way over in Old Blighty, Justin Marshall. How are you, buddy? Oh, cheers. How many pints deep are you?
All right, geezer. All right. Oh, it's been good. No, I've not been too bad, to be honest. My plane got in at 6 a.m. this morning, and not knowing the routine always is stay awake for the entire day, because then you get straight in to your sleep pattern and get over that jet lag. And then if you're still going quite strong just after lunch, that's when you attack at a English pub, good old traditional one, and have your first pint. So I did that. 1:43, I noted it down as being the time I had my first pint at a good old English pub. And since then, I've been very restrained, because I knew I had this podcast with you blokes at, which was 8 p.m. I'm thinking, if I go too strong now, it's going to be a disaster. So it's been a really good day. Hey, a little bit of interest in my trip was I'm coming, and this is quite amusing. So for all the success of the Springboks right now, so I'm heading my way to the Qantas Lounge in Sydney, because I just got the gold, JP, and you'll appreciate this, because I know that the Wallabies are always in that stratosphere. And so I'm going to the lounge, and I'm about to stride in there, and this filthy-looking person comes out the door as I'm about to go in, dragging their bag and cursing underneath their breath, and they've got a cap on. And I'm like, oh, there's someone who's been booted out. And he lifts his head up, and I was like, Brownie. It was Tony Brown, and he had his Springbok. He had his Springbok suit wheelie case with him, with the Springboks all over it. And he's like, oh, these fuckers have booked me premium economy, and they won't let me into the lounge. And I was like, he goes, mate, are you gold? I said, mate, gold? You guys are the world champions. You can't get into the lounge and you're in premium economy? He's like, mate, I can't believe it. The manager, I've got the shits with him. Anyway, so I said, come with me, mate. I'll look after you. So anyway, I spent my journey through Singapore, and then we had a few beers in the lounge and that right through to London. He's actually heading off to Jersey, because the Springboks have got a training camp. They haven't got a game this weekend, but got a training camp in Jersey. So, yeah, quite an entertaining trip over.
JP, you just made a big purchase, didn't you? New car? New wheels?
Oh,
What'd you get?
Yeah,
Lambo?
Eight-seater. No.
Mercedes? What are you on for, mate?
Stop it. No, the people mover.
24-seater limousine.
Yeah. Oh, Marshy, it feels that way. But, yeah, getting ready,
Well, you'd
mate.
be used to those.
Yeah, 4 weeks, I wish. 4 weeks yesterday. Baby's due, so... Yeah, no, shit's getting real. So, yeah, getting pretty close.
It's such a shame that the timing wise, because this time next week I'll actually I'll be over there with Marshy, but you're going to have a couple of weeks off, mate. Sorry about that.
Yeah, a couple of weeks off. You boys are going to be junking it in around over there, but look, we'll set that in for next year, eh?
There we go. And we are back for 6 episodes. Massive
are.
Thank you to Angel Bay.
This is incredible. Now, this is a sponsor I can get around as well, because it's straight to my stomach. Like, what an incredible sponsor. And Angel Bay, every day is delicious.
Angel Bay gourmet breakfast beef sausage patties is their new thing.
Oh.
I had some of these, because when you get a sponsor, you get to test it out. And the great thing about these patties, and I'm not just talking shop here, but they are part cooked, not pre-cooked. So they're gourmet, and because they're part cooked, you can get them out of the freezer.
Straight up,
chuck them straight onto the barbecue, and they're ready in minutes, like literally straight onto the barbecue from frozen. It goes against all your instinct to do it, but it is what it says it is, and it's so good.
Marshy, that must be making you hungry over there, mate. You're not going to find
Absolutely,
a gourmet
mate.
breakfast beef and lamb sausage patties. New Zealand beef and lamb.
That must be very good to call yourself the sort of self-appointed boss. Like Andy's obviously, he's done that, and so he's got his freebies. Yeah. So I don't know about you, JP, but I haven't received anything. Yes. We haven't been able to try these magnificent burgers as of yet. But yeah, look, it warms my heart being a being a former professional boner, as I used to call myself at the freezer works.
What?
I do know good quality meat. Yeah, when you come, that's what it was, mate. Yeah, I boned every day for a living. We used to use that line in nightclubs, but let's not go there.
Didn't work.
But yeah, what you certainly do appreciate is the best quality that you can get in terms of
Yes.
Any type of meat. But the fact that we've got this amazing sponsorship, and what I do love equally as well is the fact that, like you said, they're already half cooked. And you know what that does as well, which is brilliant, because you know when you're having not family barbecue, you're having a barbecue with quite a few friends around, and the pressure's on you on the barbecue, and you're like, oh my god, you know, and like some people are coming in and they're like,
the
if you
cheese
overcook
sizzlers
the
are
meat or
burnt.
undercook it, whatever. Oh mate, yeah, exactly. But the fact that you know that they're already half cooked and you just have to straight out of the freezer, bang, bang. You've already got them there. Nobody's going to die of anything that's undercooked. You're on fire. So it's absolutely perfect.
Well, Marshy, what I will do, because I do have a lot of freebies and I am cashing in.
Yes,
as
what about
self-appointed,
this?
I'll bring you over an apron. So, you know, if you fancy getting back to your boning, you can use the apron. And JP, I've actually got a wee thermometer here, which will be in the prize pack. But as you see on the back, there's a picture of a baby in a baby bottle. So you could probably use that. It's for meat, but you could, I imagine.
Oh, you can actually use it to
diversify a little bit and use it. So, and if you want to win any of this stuff, because
Is
there's
this
also
in the giveaway?
Yeah,
It's
all in the giveaway. This air fryer, so it's a 5.5 litre air fryer.
Respect.
Well, there's two prize packs, and they're both worth up to just under $500 each. So you can win all this stuff: Angel Babe product, vouchers, air fryer, apron, tongs, barbecue tongs, and all that gear. And there's also, if you go onto our Instagram page, you'll see where the competition details are. Tag you and 3 mates for you to enter, but the 3 mates you could be taking with you to live screenings of the All Black games in Christchurch and in Auckland. So
And you're hosting one of these, I believe?
I'm actually in the UK, JP,
Oh, are
having pints
you?
with
Yes,
Marshy.
of course
Yes,
you are.
sorry, mate.
Force
Sorry,
you
mate.
to,
But yeah, get involved because GBRANZ is stoked to be partnering with Angel Bay to bring you the Northern Tour, all 6 episodes, with their new gourmet breakfast beef sausage patties, the perfect pairing for those early morning games in all good supermarkets now. Seriously good pairing for those early morning
Thank
games.
you,
chuck them
Angel
on there
Bay.
really quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Should we get into it?
Yes. Yes.
England.
Yes.
England this weekend, Marshy. Have you seen anything in the papers? Have you seen any? Is there any hype around this at all?
Oh, absolutely there is. Look, I obviously think that England galvanised a lot of confidence out of their performances early in the year against the All Blacks, where they were tough, they were resilient, and to a degree, they were probably in a position to win both Test matches, but just couldn't do that. But I think Steve Borthwick said at the time what they were going to do was learn massively from that. They had players and some key jerseys that probably had never been in that position, particularly in New Zealand before, where they're playing well and had control of a Test match and let it go, but they will be better for it. You think of Marcus Smith, for example. So, Andy Farrell's basically, Owen Farrell's had a mortgage on that jersey for so long that he'll be a different player when it comes to those really important moments in Test matches now. So they're feeling super confident. Look, I guess the main chat has been about the performance the All Blacks put out against Japan. They haven't, which I'm really surprised by, they haven't read a lot into it, which means they're actually thinking really smart, because it's a completely different side than what we're going to see Scott Robertson name at the weekend. But I think that the fact that they went so well earlier in the year, like late June, July, there's always this respect for the All Blacks, but equally there's this real want to put them away at Twickenham, and you can certainly feel that already. I've only been here a day, and I've seen quite a bit of media around it.
England, I think they've only played 2 games in their last 15 at home. So
Really?
And and their last win or last game was over Ireland in the Six Nations. So
Oh, there's the World Cup.
Yeah,
wasn't there,
yeah.
of course.
Just to be playing, I think at home for England is for themselves and their preparation. Just the excitement. 80,000 people there now at Allianz Stadium. We know it as Twickenham, but at Allianz Stadium there. And so I think the atmosphere, I think the build-up for England, personally for me, I think it's going to be too much for them. I don't think they're ready. Obviously, a lot of confidence from that tour to New Zealand in those 2 games, but I think they just need this one game.
Can we just on that, on Twickenham, because you're getting the juices flowing a little bit there about like how good it is playing at Twickenham. You boys have both played there. You must have some epic memories from that.
Yeah, it was incredible stadium. Especially so I played the semi-final there too in the 99 World Cup against South Africa, so it wasn't an England game. Yet the atmosphere was just as incredible. But when playing England there, you could actually hear in the during the game, like Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Like you could actually hear the crowd singing it. That was always really cool. Like one year, we were standing. We just done the national anthems, and then we had a minute's silence before we were about to kick off. And that song, "Who Let the Dogs Out?" So the whole stadium was quiet. And someone's just yelled out, and you could hear it across the whole stadium. "Who let the dogs out?" Like this one, and there was a giggle. There was a giggle around the stadium. But I actually I played England there 3 or 4 times. I think I lost 3 out of the 4. I only beat them once in England. Very, very tough to play. And then obviously the baths. Like in Twickenham in the change rooms, that was always sort of something special.
When Swing Low kicks in, do you feel the England side pick up a notch?
Oh, look, the crowd themselves, mate, they're a very difficult team to play there. Like a very incredibly difficult, and have always been there for 2 to 3 decades, really. But it's not just Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. It's the noise itself, the stadium, the renovations now. It's just really conducive to watch a game of rugby because it's not that sort of oval shape like like in France or ANZ State, like down in Sydney. They're right on top of you. So yeah, the atmosphere is pretty cool.
What about, because it's going to happen this weekend? JP, you're a Māori boy. Justin, you've played for the All Blacks. Singing over the haka. It's a controversial topic. What do you guys think about it?
Firstly, it should be respected. I mean, if you're going to be quiet for a kicker, you could be quiet for the haka. Not a big fan of singing over the top of it. I think it's something like regardless of what country you play for, the All Blacks and the haka is something special to union and should definitely be respected.
Well, I think absolutely, JP. I think the message to people out there is if they could actually recognise what they are and are not doing, then they might understand better and might treat the situation differently, which is pure and simple. There are people there, like you say, that are there purely because they actually want to see and hear the haka. They're kind of interested in the game, but a lot of people actually want to know the mystique and they want to learn about what the haka's like to see live, and they want to hear it and see it. But when there is this constant group or part and portion of the crowd that feel that they want to destroy that for those people, I feel that's a real shame. And equally, I also feel that if they think that they are putting us off, then that is why they are the minority, because they're not. No doubt there'll probably be a portion at the weekend where they will start at some stage during the haka singing Sweet Low, Sweet Chariot. And unfortunately, you can't ever control that part of the audience, which is a real shame for others.
If they are going to sing, why don't they just sing an English song as well? It's an American song. Swing Jerusalem or something.
Mate, it's a minority, but look, every time I've ever gone and played overseas, like particularly in Europe, it's always been incredible. We've always been incredibly welcomed. I will say though, at my last game at Twickenham, the ball boys were rolling the ball to me, like because there's a bit of drizzle, and as soon as I like a line out, I'd go and grab the ball off the ball boy, and he'd roll it to me on the ground. And after the game, I remember both these ball boys came up to me and said, "Oh, can we get some kits?" And I said, "Mate, why would I give you any kit when you were rolling the ball to me?" Like, I then had to get the ball and the towel off you. And this poor kid turned around, he must have been 12, 13, said, "They told me to do it." And I was like, "That's all right, kid. Here you go. Here's a tracksuit like this one." Like the English coaches said to roll the ball to the hooker. Sneaky bastards.
That's so good.
Yeah, it actually worked really well. Actually,
I feel sorry for that ball kick. To be fair, if Ming the Merciless is looking at him and he's been rolling the ball too.
I wasn't happy.
Filthy wet. Affected his darts into the line out where he's worried enough about it, yet alone with the slippery ball.
Mate.
He's lucky he got just a little bit of a talking to and then got a tracksuit, to be honest. Ming the Merciless was obviously having a good day. Did you win?
Mate, we did.
Something
we
must
did.
have...
No, we
there
did.
you go.
No, we did, man. I had my best line out percentage. I think we got 92% or something. So I was okay.
Marshy, I want to talk to you about halfbacks. Cam Roigard made his comeback to the All Blacks over the weekend. Do you think he did enough to get maybe on the bench for this weekend? Like, how are you seeing the halfback situation play out?
I think probably for the last few weeks when this first of all the squad was announced and Cam Roigard was in it. Plus they included TJ Perenara and put Hotham and Finlay Christie in the All Blacks 15. There was obviously all these questions around the dynamic of how the makeup was going to look for that first test against England. And I guess probably the drum that I was banging at the time, and I'll continue to do that, is that I feel that Cam Roigard, he will get there. He'll get back to the type of form and the type of player that he can be. But the only way he can do that is with minutes. And yes, he's come through some good NPC games, was in some good form, and he's now got through, a test match in Japan at a different tempo and different level. But England at Allianz, Twickenham Stadium is a different prospect in terms of physicality, pace, tempo, that his body just hasn't experienced since Rugby World Cup last year, So I feel that the drums will be beating to start him because it gives us a different dynamic in our attack. Again, left-footed kicking option and his running game is a massive strength because it brings others into space by what he does in and around, particularly the breakdown and support lives are quite unique as well. So I can understand why there would be calls for him to just get out there and start. And All Blacks have never been afraid to do that. But I just feel that Cortez Ratama has probably done enough at this stage in terms of his form to retain that starting spot. And yes, I do think Cam Roigard will come off the bench. But if he was named to start, I can't say that I would say it's a wrong decision now. I haven't seen how well he's adapted to getting back into the game, and the fact that he does not seem to be troubled by that knee at all. Shit, we could be picking worse nines, So I think we're in a good position.
That's incredible, Marshy. Agree with you too. Look, if Roigard did get the start, I thought he did enough. But I think Cortez Ratama is he's done nothing wrong, and actually been his last two tests, right? Those two Wallaby tests, I thought he was really, really good, very active. Very involved, but
big defense.
Yeah. But what about that? That's crazy. The fifth halfback to play this year. What depth? I know. I look at the forward pack though, Marshy. Some really encouraging signs, right, from the Japanese game. We always knew Japan was going to come out firing. it's just holding that pace for 80 minutes. Conditions seemed really humid, mate. Like looked like on the coverage that it was really humid, so the conditions were probably perfect in preparation for this game against England. But I thought a few players put their hands up in the forward pack for reserve spots. I think you'll go De Groot, Taylor, Lomax, obviously Barrett, captain, and Vai, like he stellar season. But I thought Patrick Tuipulotu like really put his hand up for the bench spot because again, no points, man, for about 20, 30 minutes in that second half. So I think yeah, big Tuipulotu, I think he's really put his hand up as well as Finau. Like I thought how many ribs did he break on the weekend? He broke at least 2 players' ribs. Like he is just a defensive beast. I think if he can get a bit more knowledge around the defensive line out, like I think that's something that like Ethan Blackadder really brings to the All Black side. But mate, I really liked those players putting their hands up for positions.
Yeah, totally agree. And Patrick Tuipulotu's, given that he's had time off recently, the way he responded to the challenge of Tupuvai, I thought was, and the leadership as well, which carrying that captain's armband, it can be heavy, and the fact that he just went out there and led from the front, carried well, his game's just gone to a different level, which is what the All Blacks need, and they need these players pushing each other, which is great. They might consider a Tupu Vai Patrick Tuipulotu combo and put Scott Barrett on the side of the scrum if Blackadder is not up to it, and they feel they want to go for a big back row to meet the English match the English back row. So I don't know whether they'll be that bold, but it's something worth considering. But equally, how good again was Wallace Satiti obviously made Jeremy Paul's back row along with the greatest player in the world, Fraser McWright, which to be in the company of Fraser was a big moment in the young guy's career. So,
name another seven that's playing 80 minutes. Name another 7 that's playing 80 minutes in the world, mate, and then we can have a discussion, please. Any 7.
I'm pretty sure Sam Cane played 80 minutes right now, from what I saw.
Playing 80 minutes.
Yes, Sam Cane. Sam Cane, I think, played 80 minutes.
Oh, that's his first
Peter
80-minute game in how long?
I know what you're going to say about Peter Steph-Toy. Oh, he doesn't play 7. He's got he's a 6. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, we'll come back to the Wallabies shortly because we really need to discuss your picks for
we'll get
the Northern Tour.
Oh my God! How much of a spray did you get? I'm so glad I just went.
Mate, if you want to stir the pot,
we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it because
but
this England game this weekend. Because there's also on halfbacks, Alex Mitchell is not playing for England, and he was one of the stars in my mind. I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are on that, Marshy, because his tour down here, he did really well, didn't he?
He did do well and really combative. I think they structured a lot of their game plan off his kicking game, which was very, very good. He was super accurate. And, when you've got someone like Marcus Smith, who's an enigma, like the guys, kind of reminds me a little bit of Carlos Spencer to a degree, probably a little bit more contained than Carlos, but he's got this real awareness of when he sees things in front of him, regardless of whether it's within the structure or out of the structure, he doesn't care. He's going to play what's in front of him and just change things up. But equally at times, probably he just needs a foil for that, which is, he's yelling for the ball. He can see maybe a 2-on-1 rather than a 3 or a 4-on-1, and he's yelling for it because he wants to take that option from inside his own half, but it's a gamble and there's a risk to it. And then you've got Mitchell that just goes, no, and then he can execute a really good box kick or territory kick, and the team just to a degree maintains its structure. Not entirely all the time. So he's a huge loss for sure, and I think the All Blacks will be relieved because the way that he and Smith were operating in tandem with what I was just saying, you got that X factor, that ability to play what's in front of you, but then that real maturity and experience for a guy that hasn't played that many test matches, he was able to balance that out. I think balance is the key word in that. So, yeah, look, it'll be a blow for England, or it is a blow. So I think the All Blacks will look to exploit that as much as they possibly can.
I think Furbank is my pick. For me, the most. I thought in that first test down here in New Zealand, I thought he was all class and looked dangerous every time he ran the ball back. And I think we've seen across like the Rugby Championship this year, fullbacks who attack and get their team on the front foot were the sides that were continually attacking. And I just love the way Furbank brought the ball back, but also too like created space for the outside as well. And I think for Marcus Smith in that second test missed a fullback like Furbank. I think he'll be super dangerous for the All Blacks. So that defence, that kick chase will be incredibly important, particularly off that box kick from exits. And I think that's where England will look to attack around that sort of 50, 60 metre mark. So they'll have to, like the All Blacks have been vulnerable this year, like with that kick chase. So plus Itoje. Mate, I think the skipper side of things, like you look at players and once they get the captaincy, it can go either way, right? Like you just said, Marshy, that's why you had one test as a captain. But just waiting for the delay for it to hit. But what I've seen with his game and watching him over the years, like he's always been a very physical player, always sort of done silly things though too, like gave away silly disciplined errors like in penalties. But what I've seen is a change of maturity. And I think he leads the forward pack incredibly well. And I think that Underhill and Curry sort of replacement will be a massive impact in the game too. When he brings Curry on, like, and how much.
Well, Ollie Chesham's he's injured, so yeah. Right. So those three could start. Right. So it could be an Underhill, Curry, Earl.
Wow.
Back three.
Oh, right.
Which is
well then if you've got that much on the ball, right? Like that means you break down go back to the first step, your ball carrier. I think if that ball carrier, All Black ball carrier gets over that advantage line, it sort of nullifies a really, really hard pilfering or jackling sort of back row. So, but I see those sort of are the key areas. And I think, but for the All Blacks though, Marshy, having that lead-up game, even though the team will change, there'll be obviously replacements, just to get that hit out, like going into this England game, then be a bit of confidence there.
Yeah, well, there will be, JP. Like, obviously, when the All Blacks faced England, back early in their summer, obviously they were coming off the back of a big season, and then they had the game in Japan on their way through. So they were much better prepared. This time the All Blacks are much better prepared. Like the fact that they've been through the TRC, and a lot of them played NPC rugby that haven't had minutes. So they're going to get England very raw, very green, and not as well prepared. So that's an advantage that the All Blacks have over England. So yeah, absolutely, you're right in that regard. So it's basically been flipped on its head. Exactly what happened with what happened with the All Blacks is now going to happen to England, where they've got to go into a high intensity test match, having played nothing. But yeah, look, it's good chat, boys, about England. Like that forward pack, that Earl, man, he's impressive. But I thought why they were very good in New Zealand was because I thought Maro in particular, he stepped up. You've already mentioned him, and rightly so. Like when Maro decides that he's got a challenge in front of him, there's no better player in the world to take on that challenge. Like he just gets this real steel grit about him, and he just is prepared to not take a backward step to anybody, not physically, not aerobically. He's just out there putting his body on the line and working hard. And I thought the player that really helped him a lot, which not a lot of people talk about, was Jamie George. And
yes,
I just see this massive maturity in Jamie George. You know, the responsibility of captaincy, the way that he led that side in New Zealand, the way that he played. He's just so consistent as a player, and I think, like in the global game, you know, the amount of test matches he's got now under his career and the way that he plays, like, he's just so accurate in everything he does. He's good at the back of the maul. His line-out throwing's very good, and he gets around the park. He carries hard. He hits people. Like, he's probably one of the most underrated rugby players in the world, let alone in his position. And I think he is a massive part of that forward pack. That is a real gem that they have within them, and Jamie George. And then just finally on a point with England, the challenge for them is that they came to New Zealand, and not many England teams come to New Zealand to win. They're not expected to win, and obviously, the fact that they're in New Zealand and they can go out there and they can just have a go, basically. Now they got massive confidence out of it. Like I said to you, played really well, possibly could have won both those tests. Expectation levels, as I've said and what I've witnessed since being over here, are already at a different level because people have this confidence that England are good enough to win. So all of a sudden now, are they going to still have a go? Or are they going to go, oh, we could win this, and they become insular? Because that's the snap-on effect of it. Like, the only way they're going to beat the All Blacks is to play the same way and slightly better in some of their execution. But now that the expectation levels are different, it's at home, it's at Twickenham, it's in front of their crowd, they're capable of doing it because we've seen that in New Zealand 4 months ago. What sort of beast are they going to unleash? A conservative one, or one that's prepared to go out and give it a go again and say, hey, we'll take you on and let's see what you've got.
That's really interesting, actually. I like that. I like the way you're looking at that because in New Zealand, I thought the reason they were in those 2 games was their defence. Mate, they just defended for 80 minutes and were given limited opportunities, but they took them. And I thought, like, when you're building a new side, that's what you always go back to. First of all, you have a solid defensive line. And then your attack will come from your defence purely because you've created opportunity from that. And I look now and playing at home, are they going to go away from that and play more expansive footy? It'd be interesting to see how they handle the pressure and stick to the game plan, right? Because that's the brilliant thing about the Box, who are the best team in the world. Regardless of what's happening, man, they stick to their game plan, regardless. They're that disciplined to stick to their game plan. So, and that's what the best team in the world does. So mate, I reckon they'll throw it. I reckon they'll have a bit of confidence playing at home if they can keep that steely defence in the 60th minute with 20 minutes to go. Yeah, I think especially with Furbank at the bank, man, I just really love the way he plays, that bloke. So I think from an attacking point, I think they'll have a crack.
Who did you in your randomised picks? Who did you pick to win this game, JP?
I had the All Blacks, mate. I had the All Blacks. I think. Yeah, no, because
let's just go with let's just get onto the picks now. Let's go through.
Let's get on the picks. Let's go. No, I think because I picked the All Blacks because they had the Japan game first, so I thought their preparation leading into the England game, going into the England game, I thought would just give them that edge because England will be their first game. So I picked England. Oh, sorry, I picked the All Blacks, not England.
Oh my God!
So and look, also too in that last Bledisloe Cup game, I thought I saw some attack from the All Blacks we hadn't seen all year, and that was from phase play. Like, that was that old style All Blacks rugby of just ad-lib footy and just some brilliant individual brilliance, like individual skill. where they just scored some incredible tries. So if they can, which we saw a little bit too in Japan, obviously different cattle, there will be some changes. But yeah, I sort of thought the All Blacks would kick their tour off really well. But it will take a hell of a lot out of them. And I don't think they have the ability to back up against Ireland the next week, who I picked Ireland. And then France will see a wounded duck, and so they'll come in and prepare a little bit of duck pancakes. And then Italy, like they should beat Italy. So
Okay. That's all well and good. I mean,
that's my reasoning. That's my reasoning behind it.
I don't know that we're that concerned about your reasoning for the All Blacks picks, JP. It's the Wallabies picks that raised a few eyebrows. Some of the comments on the Instagram post, what has that boy JP been smoking? Pretty much on the money. The Wallabies are winning a Grand Slam.
Yeah, man.
Talk us through it.
Okay.
Talk us through it, because this is. I mean, we might have buried the lead here.
Well,
a little bit,
I think
talking
first
about it
of
this
all,
late in the podcast, but
I think first of all, before he answers, I think there's a highly likelihood that those 52 cans of beers that fit in the Bledisloe Cup, he had 52 of them before he made these predictions.
Nah, man.
That's just my thoughts on it. That this randomised Grand Slam champion Wallabies side strutting home to Australia in their speedos and running around the Coogee Beach with the Grand Slam underneath their armpits.
You ever heard of a player called Joseph Suaalii? Mate, this kid.
Yes.
Mate, I'm that excited to see this kid play. Like oh my goodness. Like in terms of building the best sort of Wallaby athlete, right? Rugby athlete. Like I look at, you put him into rugby league, one of the toughest like physical games in terms of defense and attacking running styles, all this sort of stuff. Put him in there for 3 years, get nice, good apprenticeship development, then snap him back over to rugby. Man, we could not be in a better position to probably see the best years with Suaalii. He is a freak. I think he'll start at wing, personally. I'd like to see him at 13. I think eventually he'll get to 13. Now, why I say this kid is such a big thing for the Wallabies and gives us a chance to win every game is because then we get the ability to maybe see Tom Wright. So when you've got a player of someone like Joey's endurance and his willingness to work, this kid is he's just going to work his absolute butt off, like, because he needs to impress, comes with a big price tag.
There's so much chat about him being
so much chat.
better
And
than what Sonny Bill's was.
No, so there should be, man. This kid is an absolute superstar in the making. Like, seriously, he would have been in rugby league too. Like, he started State of Origin this year. And I just think to release Tom Wright at the back, to give, like, when Tom Wright is running, we look dangerous. And I would love to have seen Corey Toole finally get a start just to see that pace, man. But I think Joey will start on the wing, and you'll have Callaway on the other wing because Marika Korobidi's been rested for this tour. So I think when you look at those three, Callaway, Wright, and Suaalii, it's one of the dangerous back three. Like, so I think if we can get some type of parity.
I agree. No, I agree, mate. And in fact, like I said, I had Tom Wright in my, TRC championship team. Thought he was outstanding at fullback. And look, there's no doubt that the potential in the entire Australian backline is massive. There's some really class players there. However, JP, being a former member of the Type 5, there is no way that a back three or even a backline can function without getting good quality ball. And what I am going to ask you is, yes, you've got some superstars, and Suaalii is one of those, but if they don't get the ball, now look, the Australian forward pack didn't entirely dominate the Welsh forward pack in the recent series that they played against them, and the Welsh are outside of the top 10 in the world. So all of a sudden, yes, you might have a good crack at Wales, but you've got to take on a tougher forward pack in Ireland, England, and even Scotland. So are these massive weapons that you've now got and are full of confidence and are going to be opened up by others, are they going to get any ball? And good ball? Because that's where it starts, mate, up front.
Bro, well, that's what I was saying. If we could get parity in terms of the forwards, but we can also look at the selection now where we got some consistency. And you brought this up like 6-7 episodes ago with respects to sticking and starting to get some solid combinations and a little bit of cohesion, right? Like, so you've got Bowell, you've got Fessler, you've got Tupu. Like, starting front row, we've seen now for the last 3-4 games. Still a bit of selection, maybe Jeremy Williams. I think he's been a find, actually, this young kid. Like, he's made some errors, but got a really big motor on him. I think you'd bring back Solokai Lotu. Like, I think his presence and defensive line out. And I think our back row now is balanced with Valentini, best player in the world, McWright, 7. And obviously Harry Wilson at skipper at number 8. So I think now that they've got a little bit more consistency in their selections, that little bit of mate, literally the first time they've ever had the same team, same forward back twice was in the last 2 games. So, but you also look at the games, mate. So we got England first, straight after the All Blacks. So they're going to be battered and bruised. Then we got Wales. So it's like we got an easier game out of the 4. And then you've got Scotland and I think then Ireland. So if we can win the first 2 games, then you never know with respects to confidence, right? But for me personally, if we can win 2 out of 4 games,
what do you mean you never know? You do know. It's a grand slam. You got to stick to your guns,
grand
mate.
slam.
Don't sit on the fence
mate,
on this.
I reckon. You know what? I'll put it out there. I reckon we'll win more games on this tour than the All Blacks will. There you go.
Well, we're already 1 up. So
No. In terms of mate, that's 5 games, mate. Take Japan out. Let's just see who wins more games on this tour first, like before we start throwing stones. I reckon, but that's the other reason I sort of said, look, I think we can win 2 out of the 4. I don't know which 2, to be honest. Like, I know Wales is obviously the easier choice because they are out of the top 10. And they are in a massive rebuild at the moment. But I think we can take England after a really, really, really tough game against the All Blacks a week later. Very tough to back up. We've seen that all year with every country. Tough to back up after a big game. And then we get Wales and then Scotland and then Ireland. So I think we're a chance.
Scotland is a niggly one. I think they're massively always... underrated recently, but they're actually a really well-balanced side now. Man, they're
really
good loosies. Their forward pack is tough enough, you know. Front row, maybe you could argue that they do struggle a little bit there, but no, second row good, back row good, halves are great, and midfield, you know, got some power in the midfield and then real finishing power on the outsides. They're a handful at Murrayfield on any good day, let alone when they feel that they can sniff a win. So, look, I agree with you. I think Australia can really challenge Wales and beat them. They could definitely challenge England and possibly beat them. Ireland, you're talking. They're not the best team in the world. They're the second best team, and I'm not just saying, just look at the world rankings. I think they're rated second, but. You just got to look at the fact that they can go to South Africa and win a chess match there. Any teams can do that, so they're a tough nut to crack. If you crack them, then you're a bloody good side. So, yeah, they could definitely win 2, but what they need to not do, and I know Joe Smith will be aware of this, is not underestimate Scotland, because if you think you're going to bank that, then you're in for a bit of a shock. That's for sure.
No, definitely not, mate. Look, they're definitely a top 6 nation now, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just as competitive as any side, any of the top sides in the world now, particularly at Murrayfield, and easily.
Well, they beat England at Twickenham last year, 6 Nations again.
Yes. Yep.
Do you see South Africa losing any of their games on tour? So they've got Scotland, Wales, and England.
Look, I think again Scotland, smoky. at home. They were always a chance now. I think depending on how battered and bruised, man, like England get, because they've got the All Blacks and then you have the Wallabies. And again, like I was sort of saying, if the All Blacks really bash them up, and then the Wallabies can add a little bit of vinegar into the wound, South Africa should demolish England too. So, they should. Yeah, no, they shouldn't have any issues. Like the way that they play.
And it all depends. I agree.
The way that they have
it all
squad.
Depends on their Rassie, if you ask me. Don't you think? Like, if Rassie decides to get creative.
Yeah, selection's going to be a key thing, isn't it, Marshy? Like, depending on whether or not he's sort of using this as well as still that rebuild, like those first couple of years for the World Cup, right, for the next World Cup.
Like if he starts rolling out different starting 15s for each game, there's a whole lot of unknown there, isn't there?
Yeah, correct.
Well, look what he did. Like, they're looking great, weren't they? And teams are looking great. They formulate this reputation of uncompromising and relentless. And every time that you face them, they're not going to take a backward step. And then he got his pants pulled down in Argentina, like for no reason. Like, it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like he messed around with the side, made wholesale changes, and then then the week later they pumped them because they actually go, oh, you know what, we balls that up. Let's put the decent side out there and show how good we are. So, like if he buttons off against Wales and goes, Wales outside of the top 10 at the moment, really struggling. Let's give a few guys a go, and they get out of sync and out of rhythm, or in the Scotland game, whatever. I know you'll target the England game for his big guns. The more he messes around, the more vulnerable they look. So that will determine the success of their tour, I think. Yes, they've got the depth to be able to move their side around a bit, but I think they're getting a little bit too smug if they think that they can make wholesale changes in terms of that starting 15 and still beat the top tier nations in the world. I think he needs to be a little more wary that teams could bite them if they're not careful.
Oh, it's an exciting tour, isn't it? There's so many good games coming up. Marshy, I'm going to be seeing you this weekend, probably at Twickenham, Allianz Stadium. I'll come and say hello if I spot you. JP, you're off for a few weeks,
I'll be deep in hospitality.
Mate, I'm out of here. Yeah, I will have +6. Yeah, I'll have the new one by the time I catch up with you guys again. So wish me luck. And I'll be getting some Angel Bay sausage, breakfast sausage patties sent to my house.
Mate, I'll give you the thermometer and an apron.
Thank you very much.
Because you're going to be doing a lot of the cooking over the next few weeks.
I want quick cooking too. I want quick and delicious cooking. Thank you.
Brilliant. And they're going to be big shoes, big boots to fill. Marshy, we've got some decent guests lined up for when I come over. Got some big guns.
Yeah. Look, I think we have to say thanks to everybody that's been following us and got in behind the GBRANZ. We're incredibly excited about how it's gone so far. The fact that we've now got the ability to go on for these 6 more episodes is amazing. And we want to keep delivering you all, good products. So, we've got a couple of really quality guests lined up, 2 All Black legends for our first 2. When Andy arrives here in the UK, where I'll have 1,000 pints lined up for him for his arrival.
Yes.
Zinzan Brook first, and then Sean Fitzpatrick. I don't think we need to keep that a secret because you guys need to look forward to hearing from those guys.
Yes.
They are both based here in the UK, but they'll be talking about the 2 test matches that have been and are coming up for the All Blacks, but equally what they've been up to and what they're doing and their careers as well. So, couple of blockbuster episodes to come out, so really looking forward to that.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us, Marshy, all the way over there. Thanks for flying over.
Yes.
JP, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and so we'll see you again next week.